Welcome, everybody, into the Fantasy Football Diner. I am your host, Dan, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Kerry.
What up?
Kerry, how we doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Trying to survive and stuff like that. For those who don't know or have been out of the loop, there was a series of storms and stuff like that. We got hit by a hurricane down here in the southeast. So those who are still without, thoughts and prayers out to you guys. Reach out if you can. If we could do anything to help, we will. Just let us know. So
jumped into that quick. I was going to get to it in a minute. But yes, now that we're on the subject, Category 2 hitting the very southeast, way worse in Florida. Thoughts and prayers out to all you diners down south. And then even to the north of us, Asheville, North Carolina, the videos there it is so sad. I have a cousin who lives in Asheville. The water was completely covering the house. Complete loss. No loss of life, which at the end of the day, that's what we're grateful for. And that's what we hope at the end of the day all of our diners are experiencing is not any loss of life, because then it becomes tragic. I've been through a house fire and lost everything. That is still tragic in its own right. But loss of life, that's when things get dicey. So, from the Dynasty Football Diner to all of you out there, thoughts and prayers throughout the Low Country. We truly are grateful for you listening. And we hope that we can bring you, a little reprieve and a little, just time to have a little fun.
Yeah, a little entertainment.
That's it. Just a little entertainment to take your mind off things for just a minute before we have to get back to real life. Let's handle some business, deal with some invoices. Everybody, Spotify and YouTube, we see you diners. We see you guys sharing, getting more followers, more subscribers. Please like and follow and subscribe on the Spotify and YouTube at DFD podcast. Please leave a comment. Let us know how terrible we are, how stupid we are, how much you love it. Either way, even if you spew hatred, it helps the diner out a lot. We appreciate that. On Instagram, it is DFD_podcast. Please give us a follow on there. And we're also on Threads under the same screen name.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, we have gotten 0 comments on any of our content. The first person who gets a comment, I will shout out for the next 5 episodes.
Yeah, let's do it. First person to put something in the damn comment section, we will shout you out.
Anything.
That's right. But we like to engage. That's what a diner's all about. It's about getting that cup of coffee and just talking to the next person next to you. And
yeah.
And we like to engage with the people here. So
yeah.
So please hit us in the comment section, good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't matter. Let's just get it.
That's right.
So I'd like to start the show off with on Thursday night, since it seems like we're starting off with the storm theme. Thursday night, we had the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, man. Did that do anything for you, just quickly?
Just real quick, after the first half, no. I mean, I had CeeDee Lamb on one of my teams, and he literally scored like 20 points in the first half. I had Dottle on another team, all his points in the first half. So if you're one of those dads or one of those guys who's just like, you get to watch the first half, then you got to go to bed for work the next day, you didn't. I mean, you really didn't miss out.
Yeah, I have in my notes here, it was a perfect game for storms, right? Because, check this out. So the storms were blowing in, and this game was on, and it just It just didn't do much for me.
It was so fast, and then it was so slow, just like the storm was.
That's right. It was more like a slog fest. Like I feel like it was the perfect game for people going through a storm because I literally spent probably 2-to-1 time on local news and National Weather Radar, Hurricane Center data versus the game, right? So like I could check in, see something, see what happened, and then I could spend the next 10 minutes seeing if tornadoes were touching down and what was going on, on landing spots and wind speeds and all that. And then I'd check back in the game, and
it reminds me of what my dad used to tell me about NASCAR.
What was that?
It's the best thing to watch because you can watch the first 20, 30 laps, take a nap, and then watch the last 20, 30 laps.
And you caught everything.
And you're caught up.
You didn't even need to get caught up. Like, you lie. Shout out to Mr. B. That is good stuff right there, And, other from that game, just a couple things. In my notes, I had is New York Giants trying to kill Malik Neighbors. Now, I've heard 4 or 5 other different podcasts say the same thing, but I literally had that written down in my notes. So it wasn't just me thinking it. And I had this wrote down before he went down with the concussion, which apparently the other 4 people that I listened to said the same exact thing. He cannot sustain this.
No,
right?
There's no way.
Like, he will die.
I mean, real quick, these are his targets from week 1 to last Thursday. Week 1, 7. Week 2, 18. Week 3, 12. Week 4, 15. And it's just, it's awesome to see from a fantasy point of view, but it is no chance he can keep this up.
I mean, and
he needs somebody else to.
And some people keep talking about Devin Singletary. Listen, Devin Single Digits, as I like to call him, would not have even the big games. Pull up his stats real quick while I'm talking.
On it.
Like, he would not have the stats he has without Malik Neighbors, okay? Like, Devin Single Digits has been not good, okay?
Look, dude, he's got in one of our scoring leagues. Okay, from weeks 1 to 4, his attempts are: week 1 is 10, 2 against Washington was 16, against Cleveland 16, against Dallas 14. Dallas is one of those teams where you can run on, right? It's been established for the last few weeks. So he's done that. These are his yards. Week 1, 37. Week 2, 95. He had a 14.5-point game. Week 3 against Cleveland, he had 16 attempts, 65 yards. He was averaging 4.06 yards per carry. 19 against Dallas, one of the weakest
19 carries?
No, 19 points, 19.3 points. He had 16 attempts and 65 yards and a touchdown.
Okay.
So he had a touchdown week 2 and 3 against Dallas, a team that you should be able to run on. 14 attempts, 24 yards. That's weak. That is not good.
See, to me, that screams the story of his career. Inconsistent and just has to be in the right position. Like, single digits can do it if in the right spot. But, like, if he's not in the right spot, he's not going to go out and make it happen.
No, he's not.
I just find it funny. Like, if every time I've seen any New York Giants gameplay this year, if it's not Malik Neighbors and Danny Dimes,
it's nobody.
It's single digits, and he's really not doing anything.
Dude, he's got the 2 games he did the best in. Each game he had a fumble loss in. So, I mean, 4 games, 2 fumbles. I mean, it's not looking good, guys.
I'm going to tell you, 2 years ago, I rode single digits.
I know you did. I remember.
Man, it was so tilting.
Was that back when he was on, was it Buffalo?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was not even it was not even a presence to worry about.
Every game that I played him, it was full tilt. It just wasn't even fun. And that's why I call him, lovingly Devin Single Digits, because that's just all he got me. But anyways, moving on to better stuff. No. Hold on. Before we get out, I have one more thing. Just a quick question. You ready?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Dallas. Season MVP. Got to be Brandon Aubrey, right? Oh. This dude is coming in and making Justin Tucker look like a doo-doo butter pat. I'm telling you. Brandon Aubrey, even after first week against Cleveland when they ran him out for a 72-yarder, but then they got a penalty and all the rest of them.
Oh, my God.
Dude, I'm telling you. This dude, Dallas MVP, Brandon Aubrey. Diners, make it happen. This show will support it. It's got to happen.
I did. Honestly, just look, to end this cap off about the Dallas game, I don't know what's going on with them, but they need to get it together. I know their defense is not what it was. Michael Parsons injured. They need to pay him. I don't remember if they did or didn't. I don't think they have.
Oh, he's hurt now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he was low man on total poll. They paid CD. They paid Dak. I'm a firm believer in when players get a big-time paycheck, they do not do good the next season. And so
no, you always want fantasy players on a contract here.
Yeah, obviously that's optimal. But when you have a CD Lamb and a Dak, or like I have a stack of them on one of my leagues, I think. But if you have the stack, it's a hard year right now for you. But don't feel too bad because I drafted Puka Nacua for my first wide receiver off the board, and it sucks. So, but here we are. Anyway.
I will tell you, though, just the last little side note to wrap up this game. We're not here to talk to Giants and Dallas. But
no, we're freelancing today, guys.
That's right. Wan'Dale Robinson, my guy. I think I might have him in 4 out of 6 of my leagues. The man looked good. I mean, even before Neighbors went out, Wan'Dale Robinson, look, you can find fantasy players like this out here on a lot of teams. It's kind of like, okay.
The Gabe Davis effect.
No, absolutely not.
I think he is.
No. Hold on. I will address what you just said in a minute because that was preposterous. What I was going to give with a preface, right, is that remember when Javonte Williams came back or even Breece Hall? They came off of an injury, and then that first year back, right, everybody was like, okay, they're back. So everybody was jamming them because they know the
youth was on their side.
Well, youth and talent, right?
Absolutely.
But in the NFL, it takes some time to get your legs back from under you, right? So last year, Wan'Dale Robinson played. The Giants were an epic disaster. Wan'Dale Robinson didn't have a very good year.
What was his injury?
It was something in the knee, if I remember correctly.
MCL,
I can look it up.
It was like an MCL.
But it was, I'm pretty sure it was a knee. And then he came back. He was back. And he just didn't show out. But this year, and he's been his name. Listen, if the Giants didn't draft Malik Neighbors, I promise you, Wan'Dale Robinson would be getting the same amount of targets as Malik Neighbors. Hot take it up. Ooh. It's the truth. If Malik Neighbors was not on the Giants, Wan'Dale Robinson would be getting all the targets because there's nobody else out there. Okay, you got an update?
I do. So in the 2022, September 11th, hashtag never forget, he had a knee patella strain. And then in November 20th of the same year, he had an ACL tear grade 3. So statistically, it's a full year removal. So that means if he tore it in 2022, 2023 is more or less a scratch.
Right.
So 2024 should be a year where if he has the talent to, he should bounce back.
Do you have the games he played last year?
The game's up.
Well, the games he played.
No, not right now. But
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The Giants last year were a freaking disaster. Saquon got hurt. It was done. But I'm just trying to tell you guys, if Neighbors was not on the Giants this year, Wan'Dale Robinson might be like wide receiver 15 and up. I'm telling you. He's that good. You guys just got to watch it. If you missed the game, you can go back and look. But this dude was killing it even before Neighbors got hurt. And by the time Neighbors got hurt at the end, it was already over with anyway. But
he is talented. But just for the record, he had 60 catches for 525 yards and scored 2 touchdowns in 15 games in 2023.
without Danny Dimes.
So this is also the return off the ACL.
That was the year he came back.
That's last season, 2023.
And Danny Dimes didn't play, right? If I remember correctly.
I don't think so.
He was out with the knee stuff.
If he did, it was very little games.
Yeah, it was a terrible year for Saquon. Look at what Saquon's doing with the Eagles this year.
Look at the Eagles now.
For the Giants, they might as well just blew them.
Listen, so for anybody out there, if you have a player going up against the Giants on your bench and you're not sure who to start and you need somebody in your flex, play the player against the Giants. I would 100% of the time.
Yeah, their defense is looking a little leaky.
Yeah, leaky's saying it nice. Anyway, moving on.
All right, yeah, this is not a New York Dallas show. So
no, it's not.
I apologize to the Diners. Let's keep it moving.
So Dan, I'm gonna take the lead on this one for you, buddy. How'd you do this week on your fantasies, on your games, on your leagues?
You're only taking the lead because
you know why. The world's gonna know why.
I had a good weekend, Gary. I went 5-1 out of my 6 league. We'll get into a little bit more because I know you just can't wait to share your stats. But,
no, man, go ahead. Take your time.
All right. Well, let's start with our team league.
Oh, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, we came out on top this week.
The Dynasty Diner team was victorious. Now, let me get into the nitty gritty, and then I'll turn it over to you. We eked out this week. We won with 145.5, and the opponent had 142.3. Going into last night, Monday night, the opponent had Kenneth Walker for 3 TDs.
God, boy, did he.
And Amon-Ra, who threw a TD and caught one. And what we had, because going into last night, I thought it was a lot. Going into last night, we had Josh Allen, who laid a complete stinker. I mean, he might
7.3, baby.
He might get the doo-doo butter award of the week.
If I had a button for that right now.
Yeah, the doo-doo butter award of the week is
French
something
toast.
We need to give every week. We'll come up with that. Well, let's workshop that. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, go ahead and jot that down. Ladies and gentlemen, Diners, if you have any suggestions, please leave a comment. First commenter gets a shout out for 5 weeks in a row. Possibly an appearance on the show
of the week.
Golly, boy.
So we had Josh Allen, who laid like 7 points, but then we also the complete opposite of doo-doo butter, who for the sake of talking was butter. Tony Pollard,
bro,
my man, who I got to tell you, I checked it in the first half. I was kind of depressed.
I was worried.
I looked at my stuff. I'm like, listen, because, side note, because of the storms we're having down here, the restaurants, for those of us with power, have been leaned on heavily. So I didn't have a big, I wasn't inundated with football this weekend like I normally am.
We didn't get a chance to expose to it. Yeah,
that's right. So I could only check in. So put yourself in my shoes. I checked in about halftime of that first game.
When the Wi-Fi hit,
terrible.
1,000 notifications.
It was terrible. Had like 3 points. I'm like, oh, it's over with. Then my man, Tony Pollard, coming in the clutch, baby.
Dude.
And he just came and laid the smackdown. So we won. We eked out a 3-point victory with going against Kenneth Walker and Amon-Ra.
For those who don't know, Kenneth Walker had 33.6 points.
Yeah.
On his first week back off of injury.
With an oblique?
Yeah. Which is, by the way, I don't know, I can't remember if we covered this or not, is a common injury for him is abdominal injuries.
But it's also hard to come back from. It's painful.
Very hard to come back from.
Your oblique is your stomach lining to the side of your abs.
It is a pain tolerance injury is what they call it.
Or for me and Carrie, it's the muscles on the side of our...
Somewhere. They're in there.
Keg.
Man, they're in there somewhere.
It's the keg muscle.
And for those who are curious, our our bench. Thank God we didn't play any of them because our best person on the bench was Dontavian Wicks, who, by the way, if you have not picked him up, he's a huge trade target right now.
I was going to bring him.
Yeah. Well, we're in the game. Let's bring him.
Now we're here. We're here.
Yeah. Him, Josh Downs, also another big target, but that's for when we get to that.
Different segment.
Yeah. But, yeah, we squeaked through. Josh Allen, the 7.3, I was like, man, we are for sure going to win. Josh Allen's going to crush it. What?
I was thinking the same thing.
What? 16
Butter Award of the Week.
16 for 29, 108
wordy,
yards.
Right? Doo-doo Butter Award of the Week. It's a bit wordy.
Yeah, we can
please help us out. We need something. We need something.
Yeah, we need something.
Doo-doo Butter Award of the Week. A bit wordy.
If you can help us, just try to stay on brand. If not, just shoot your ideas anyway.
We got you.
Anyway, moving on.
All right, so yeah, okay. Let's
officially
stop. Hold on.
Officially, we're 2-2.
Let us get. I'll get to that later. Let us get to what this man has been dying to talk about, and I'm gonna line them up. It'd be like an alley-oop. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
You ready, diners?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kerry, how'd you do this week?
Clean sweep, baby. 7-0. 7-0. It was a good week for me. The Dynasty Diner was a squeaky win. That's for sure. That was a squeaky win. I had another one in another league that I won by only 10 points. That was my Breece Hall Garrett Wilson league. And let me tell you what, Garrett Wilson is starting to frighten me a little bit.
I hear other people talking about what I should say is that everybody's nervous. Continue.
Yeah, because he's just I don't know what's going on with him. He's not performing. Aaron Rodgers also was Aaron Rodgers. Apparently, I'm going to go ahead and release this one before the segment, but Aaron Rodgers was dealing with a knee injury. He said on the Pat McCaffrey show that he came out of week 4 McCaffrey. I'm on a computer. Leave me alone. I'm a nerd. With a knee issue, he said he's feeling a bit banged up and his knee was a little bit swollen. So we don't know if that's why he was not performing good or what. But at the end of the day, both Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson in this league, for me, got a total of about 7 points. So that's not good. Garrett Wilson is more talented than that, but it's just I don't know what's going on. It's not good.
I
almost lost to possibly the worst team. Is the last place team in our league right now. He's 0-4. Sorry, shout out to you, McGilla. Love you, dog. But I can't have that. So anyway, yeah, that's me. I went 7-0. I was extremely happy about that.
Did you have any close ones?
The Diner, our DFD team was the closest. That was the next closest by like 10 points, a little under 10 points.
Do you diners out there hear this guy like, oh, yeah, the closest win I had was 10 points. This guy sounds so out of control. Speaking of which,
I'm just glad he didn't play Baker Mayfield. No, I guess it wouldn't have mattered.
It doesn't matter. Baker looks so good.
God, does he?
He looks so good. Okay, well, speaking of close wins, I just wanted to share in the OG league, which this is the league that a lot of us that are in multiple leagues now, we started with in the original league.
That's the one that I'm to my 10-pointer.
So I just wanted to share a little story with you guys because I think everybody can relate, right? This has nothing to do with the diner or anything else, but everybody who's listening to this, I hope can relate. To me, fantasy football or just betting in general, it's about the sweat. The sweat is what makes you feel alive, okay? I was going into it yesterday. I was going 6-0. But I had 2 different sweats going on, which means that I could have went 4-2. I ended up going 5-1. It doesn't matter. It's about the sweat. This could be on FanDuel, DraftKings, Prize Picks. This is just betting in general, right? this is, to me, this is what gets my juices flowing. Let me tell you guys something, just a little story, right? There were 2 minutes left in the Seattle-Detroit game for the end of the week. So 2 minutes left in week 4, okay? These two teams, neither one of us are involved, but these two teams right now, it was, check this out, let me paint the picture for you. It was Jamison Williams and Kenneth Walker versus nobody. Jamison Williams, Kenneth Walker versus nobody, right? So the one team was going in up 50 points. 50 freaking points. You were up. Now imagine your fantasy team, you're up 50 points. I cannot stress that enough, dude. 50 points. You're going in. There's 2 Monday Night Football games. The person you're playing has nobody playing. You're up 50. Well, no, you're down 50. You're thinking, I'm done. Like there's very few situations, even when I have 2 players and they have none and I'm down 50, I'm thinking, yeah, I got a chance. I'm thinking, I might as well go to bed early.
Start planning for next week.
That's right. I might as well go to bed early. Let me tell you something. Jamison Williams busted out in 18 points. Kenneth Walker busted out at 31.6 points for a total of 49.6 points. This team lost by 0.64 points. Now, they had no business winning anyway because they were down 51 points. You know what I'm saying? So, like, karma, the fantasy gods always straighten things out like this, okay? And for people who don't believe in the fantasy gods, you better get your stuff together.
Dude, you
because
better.
That is
They are mean.
That is real.
So
no,
mean.
They are fair. It is what it is.
Oh, yeah, taught to the 10th place.
Well, hey, everybody's hand of cards are different.
Yeah, true.
But I will say, what a sweat. For the dude that was up 50 points to sit there with nobody playing, and Kenneth Walker already scored 3 touchdowns, and Jamison Williams caught a 40-yard touchdown pass. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown throwing touchdowns to Jared Goff.
I know.
Like, all kinds of crazy stuff is happening on a Monday night. I would have had a little bit of doo-doo butter in my own drawers. I'm glad I didn't. My sweat, I didn't have anybody going in the second game. I won by 3. I was going up against David Montgomery. I lucked out because David Montgomery had a great game too. Jameer Gibbs 2 touchdowns. David Montgomery scored. I mean,
it's so hard
all the names for Detroit were killing it. I had a sweat too. I'm just glad it worked out for me. I just want to shout out this game. I was sweating with him. It wasn't even my matchup, but like I was totally dialed in to a 0.64 points victory.
Yeah, man, that's what happens, dude. That Detroit game was insane, dude. For those who aren't in the know, your boy Jared Goff threw a perfect game. That means he went 18 for 18, no incompletions. He went 18 for 18 over the Seahawks. He got 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. Plus, like he said, catching a 7-yard touchdown pass thrown by Amon-Ra. Jared Goff's performance set the NFL record for most pass attempts in the game without an incompletion. And you want to know what the worst part, the saddest part about it is?
What?
Is that the coach gave the game-winning ball to other people.
I heard
because he didn't realize what Jared Goff had accomplished. You know how upsetting that would be to set an all-time NFL record, to throw a perfect game, and then for the game ball to be gone to somebody else. Hopefully they do the right thing and hand it over to Jared Goff, because that's a once-in-a-lifetime accomplishment. I mean, honestly. You don't get better than that.
I mean, it was only 18 passes, man.
It was 292 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And he caught one.
I
would have given the game ball to Jared Goff just for having a receiving touchdown.
Yeah, I would have.
Any quarterback that has a receiving touchdown. Get him a game ball.
Listen, I just thought of this, okay? I took a picture of it earlier.
Like, seriously, like anybody who is, if you're a quarterback who, in general, you're not mobile, you're just back there slinging that ball around. If you catch a receiving touchdown, and if you watch the replay, the dude looked like he should have been tackled at the 5-yard line. But
And he made a move.
It looks like the defensive back, he just got juked.
Check this out. Ready? So, of these players, who you think has caught more touchdowns? Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, Mark Andrews, Brock Bowers, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuels, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, and Jared Goff.
This is a trick question.
Is it a trick question?
Because I have multiple of those players. You just named on my teams.
It's Jared Goff.
It's Jared Goff with one.
Out of 4 weeks, these top end players that you would draft.
Say that list again slowly.
Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, Mark Andrews, Brock Bowers, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr.
So
Jared Goff.
So when you told me that list, right, I was conflicted. Okay.
You should be conflicted.
Well, not only because these players are riddled throughout my teams.
Oh, same.
But okay, so if you break that list down, right, Ayuk looks like doo-doo butter. He missed the whole offseason.
Yeah.
T. Higgins was hurt. He's pretty much missed the whole season.
That's a normal for T. Higgins.
Jalen Waddle
is hurt from Tua.
Well, he's hurt. It's the Tua thing, right?
Quarterback play.
Like a lot of these guys, Deebo was hurt. Who else was on there that I didn't say?
Brock Bowers.
Listen, he started out good. The Raiders are totally taking a crap. I don't know what's going on. They seem to have, they're talking about trade Devontae Adams ever since their coach came out and said, well, we saw business decisions. We're going to make business decisions too. That game was a season changer. Put it in the books. It's my hot take.
I agree.
Game right there is what changed everything.
I agree, because it wasn't just Devontae Adams. It was their
it was
a cornerback and a couple other defensive backs they had out there.
Behind the scenes that they are not it. Okay?
No. They have a good defense, but when your players don't want to play, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yes, like that was the Raiders are a head scratcher. It's not like we had big aspirations for them anyway, but like
I did.
Something you did?
Yeah, one of my leagues I dropped my defense to pick up the Raiders defense, and then they immediately sucked.
I think that move sucked. But
it was Miami's defense.
They gave us hope in the first 2 weeks, but I'll touch on this in a little bit when we're talking about week to week. I
have a question.
A trade?
I have a question for one of our listeners. They had a question about a trade. Okay. Now, this is a redraft league. All right. But even in redraft or in dynasty, this is still, it's a very interesting trade. Okay. So he was looking at trading. He was looking at trading his Josh Jacobs and Drake London for their DK Metcalf and Waddle.
Wait.
Yeah.
Give me it again.
Josh Jacobs and London.
You receive Josh Jacobs
and
Drake London.
You trade Josh Jacobs and Drake London.
Okay, so you're trading away
Josh Jacobs and London
and Drake London,
getting DK and Waddle. But they also have Michael Pittman Jr. His backups are King Henry and Zach Moss at running back.
All right, so wait a second. Josh Jizzle, Drake London
for
go away.
Go, yeah. They're sending,
and then you get
DK and Waddle or
DK
Pittman Jr.
or Pittman
Jr. Now, my take on that is it really depends on if Anthony Richardson plays or not. If it's Joe Flacco, all day I'll take Pittman Jr. because Flacco is an air raid.
All right.
So his backups at running back, because I personally think Josh Jacobs is better than people think he is.
Does this diner listen to the show?
Yeah, he does.
All right. So,
he contacted me directly and asked me.
Sir.
And I asked his permission
to use
this trade.
Call him out Do we want to give him a shout out?
No, let's anonymous.
Okay, so, sir, here's my full-fledged opinion, okay? Josh Jizzle is the Green Bay offense, okay? They might have 5 receivers and a great quarterback and a decent defense when
and a good tight end.
Jair Alexander is healthy, okay? But let's get this straight. They brought him in from the Raiders to be the man. Josh Jacobs, if I say Josh Jizzle, let me know because it's my nickname for him, but if I don't mean to. But Josh Jacobs, he's really great. I mean, people forget because he had like a season of injury and a season of meh that he wasn't like the number one. I remember 6 years ago, probably 6, 5, and 4 years ago, or 5, 4, and 3 years ago, Josh Jacobs was first running back drafted in every league. Okay. So Josh Jacobs has the talent. I just feel like the Raiders have kind of like tarnished his legacy and his name just from Gruden and all the changes. That hasn't really tarnished. I guess that's the wrong word.
He wasn't used.
Well, yeah, you're right. He wasn't used properly, but this man's skills are there, okay? And we saw it through the first 2 weeks, and especially that first game after Jordan Love went out, they gave the ball to him like 30,000 times.
Dude, listen.
And he had like 150 yards or 130 yards and a tutty, and I don't even think they were playing a team that they should have beat.
So he is currently through 4 weeks. He is for carries. He has 71 carries. He's ranked 7th for carries and rushing yards. He's ranked 7th at 329 yards.
So he's breaking RB5. He's on the cusp.
0 touchdowns
of RB5.
All of his touchdowns a lot of his touchdowns have been called back on flags.
And that's the thing. The Packers have been committing these penalties. They got to tighten it up. But that's a side note.
But he's at 4.6 yards per attempt, and his yak is 3.32. Dude is good. It's the touchdowns are coming.
Always been good. Now, to Mr. Anonymous, Drake London. Oh, boy. This is a tricky one. Now, everybody saw the Monday night game or the Sunday night game, whatever the primetime game was. Everybody saw that. The Dynasty Diner benefited from Drake London in that game. I'm totally down. I'm here for Drake London. Okay. Now, here's my problem. Let me get to the other side. Okay. Now, just to be clear, Josh Jizzle and Drake London leave his team.
Yeah, they leave his team. Redraft league.
Right.
But this is also an interesting dynasty trade, in my opinion.
Well, right. This I feel like this trade could be on different leagues, different levels, Superflex, Dynasty, Redraft. This could be multiple things because these are names that everybody
these
drafted.
Are big names. Absolutely.
Top 5 rounds, right? Okay, so you're going to send off Josh Jizzle and Drake London to get DK Metcalf and Jalen Waddle or Michael Pittman. Now,
I love DK.
Go ahead and drop your DK stat.
Oh, yeah. Fancy that. I don't. There it is. So DK Metcalf is 3 weeks in a row now over 100 yards. So listen to what I just told you. Right? So 75% of his games played so far is 100-yard games. That's something to notice because Geno Smith is on an absolute fire right now. He is on an absolute burner. Maybe people underestimated him. Maybe they had a coaching change or something's going on. JSN is opening up a lot of targets because he's tied targets with JSN. So with JSN now, instead of just not only Tyler Lockett but JSN, it's opening stuff up and it's benefiting DK Metcalf right now.
Well, and Geno's, you were saying JSN.
Geno's on a heater.
JSN had like 18 targets. Either last week or the week before.
I see. I'll look it up.
It was absolutely out of control. Everybody, I think it was 2 weeks ago because everybody was saying JSN, he's broken out yet. And then he followed it up this week. Had to be week 3.
JSN is right now, as far as targets go, he's 10th with 33, and tied for 6 with 25 receptions, but he's tied for 23rd with 226 yards.
How many targets did he have week 3? It had to be like 18, right? 15, 18.
Yeah, you have to give me a second to find out.
Check it out.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now here's the problem with this trade, right? And I'm going to suggest
Waddle. Waddle's my issue with the trade, and Pittman.
Okay,
Jr.
well, thank you for just, I was in the middle of a sentence and I was getting to that, but I appreciate you for the support.
I don't appreciate your tone.
So all the 3 of the 4 here,
yep,
I feel like are equal trade, right? Josh Jizzle, DK Metcalf, Drake London. These are all trade pieces that I think is like reasonable for a trade, right? Listen, and I gotta preface this, Mr. Anonymous, trade question.
12 targets.
12
against New England. Yeah.
How many yards?
JSN. He was. I'm sorry. It was 16 targets.
16 targets.
12,
that's what I thought.
12 receptions for 117 yards.
That's right. 15 to 18 targets.
Still
Listen,
no touchdowns.
Against who?
That was against New England in week 2.
Ooh, bummer.
Yeah, 12 targets against Detroit last week.
And 12 against Detroit. Okay,
yeah.
Who is a pass funnel?
Yep.
Okay, so check this out. Mr. Anonymous trade person. The really key part is that you're getting Waddle or Pittman. Okay. Pittman, if Joe Flacco is named the quarterback for the rest of the season, I'm nailing this trade. Okay, for Pittman. Okay. I'll take DK and Michael Pittman if Joe Flacco is the quarterback for the rest of the season.
That's my boy.
But he's not going to be the quarterback for the rest of the season, right? Now, I will tell you, I have about 50% exposure to Jalen Waddle. It is grim. It really makes, like, I've thought about taking a butter knife and scraping my eye right out of my socket when I watch the Dolphins. It is brutal. So, frankly, to me, Josh Jacobs and Drake London, I'm keeping them. If you want to get DK, like, I feel like this trade is because you want DK. If you really want DK, try to package up something different.
He's looking for an alpha one.
He's what?
He's looking for an alpha one.
Yes. Okay.
DK,
so
absolutely.
DK is on the way. I get that. I don't know if for Waddle or Pittman, like, to me, DK and Drake London, that's a wash. So to me, when I break this trade down, it's Josh Jacobs versus Waddle or Pittman. There's no freaking way.
I would trade Moss.
I'm doing that.
I would trade your Zach Moss over Josh Jacobs, personally.
I think you're tripping. So that's just my opinion, but
that's fair.
I think you're high. So Waddle or Pittman, if you want to put this trade together, which I think is legitimate, 3 of the 4 parts, but that 4th part, which is especially the part that you're getting, so you need to make sure, Mr. Anonymous, get rid of Waddle or Pittman and go get you, like,
running back.
Well, I don't know what your roster looks like, so I don't know what you need. But Waddle and Pittman are not it. You need something more sure. Pittman is totally dependent on Joe Flacco starting, and that's not for sure. Waddle is totally dependent on Tua starting, and who the hell knows what is happening in Miami?
Whoa.
Nobody does.
He also has Brown for Bengals, Chase Brown. So he's got Zach, he's got Moss and Brown.
Okay, but still, that's not even for sure either, because
yeah,
the Bengals are so wishy-washy. We don't even know. Mm-mm. So I like this trade, but get Waddle and Pittman out and go get you something. I mean, for Josh Jacobs and Drake London, you should be able to command a name. You know what I'm saying? Like, go get you an Aaron Jones for Josh Jacobs. Go get you, like, let's get some names in here that you can't. You're not going to be able to get Saquon.
Looking at his roster, Josh Jacobs is definitely not a piece he wants to get rid of, unless he's getting another running back in return.
100%.
Yeah.
To me, Josh Jacobs, you cannot trade this guy unless you're getting Saquon. I wouldn't. Okay, let me ask you a question, Kerry. Would you trade straight up? Well, this is a redraft, so it's a little different. But let's just have this conversation, right?
Have it.
Straight up, Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara. Who you want?
That's a good one. I'll take Jacobs. I'll take Josh Jacobs over Alvin Kamara.
Me too. I don't trust the Saints.
I don't trust Derek Carr.
And
I don't
trust the Saints.
I've been burnt by Derek Carr before. I'm a Raiders fan, and he does really good. Then he also does really bad. He's a flaming car that keeps driving. It looks cool. It's great. And then it's bad.
Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker.
Ooh. Redraft, I would take probably Kenneth Walker right now. Dynasty, I would take Josh Jacobs just for the sheer fact that it's the injuries. It's the injuries for me. Josh Jacobs is just less injury prone than Kenneth Walker is.
Josh Jacobs, Jordan Mason.
Redraft or Dynasty?
Just
any?
Josh Jacobs versus Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason, probably. Because I've had Josh Jacobs. I had Josh Jacobs the year that he blew up and was running back one.
Josh Jacobs, Chubba Hubbard.
Josh Jacobs all day.
Josh Jacobs, Kyler
Listen,
Williams.
ladies and gentlemen, Dane has this hard on for Chubba Hubbard. He loves Chubba. But getting back to the facts here.
3.
Getting back to the facts here. So Michael Pittman Jr. is heavily relying on the quarterback. The quarterback right now, Anthony Richardson, the starter. The starter right now, he is day-to-day with an oblique and abdomen injuries. The Colts quarterback, Anthony Richardson, is considered day-to-day with oblique and abdominal strain suffered in Week 4. The Week 4 win over the Steelers, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, sorry if I mispronounced it, quote, he has a shot to play this week against the Jaguars, Pelissero adds. It's about the best possible news Richardson owners can hear. Although, I mean, if he comes back, his mobility may be comprised. And if it is, that's going to take a huge chunk. Like a huge chunk out of like his fantasy points, right? So that takes precedence over a lot. And then you have, do I have news on this? No, I don't. Then you have, also considering this, Jonathan Taylor is expected to avoid the IR. Head coach Shane Steichen said Monday that the team isn't planning to place running back Jonathan Taylor on short-term IR as of now, according to the insider Mike Chappell. Taylor is dealing with what NFL Network's Ian Rappaport called a, quote, mild high ankle sprain. I don't know what that means, but it was also the same ankle that required surgery on January in 2023. So consider it good news for Taylor if he misses fewer than 4 games on that injury right there. So we're not expecting him to play this week. Keep an eye on it. But if Trey Sermon is out on waivers, pick up Trey Sermon. Don't be scared to grab him. He's the next best thing. So, but other than that, yeah. So I like Josh Jacobs more. I do. I just do. I'm a Josh Jacobs fan and stuff like that. But considering the injuries to the Colts right now, if Anthony Richardson doesn't play, keep an eye on that for sure. And if Flacco is out still on your waivers, or if you could acquire him to somebody who's not really paying attention to it or thinks that Anthony Richardson is going to come back, if you have room for it, stash Joe Flacco. I love Joe Flacco. I stashed him last year. Then he came out in the Browns, and he just went on a rampage because he just airs it out. He does not care. He goes, and it's, if you ever watch Joe Flacco throw a deep pass, it doesn't look like it looks like he's throwing a paper airplane. The way he cocks back and he just flicks his wrist. And it's, dude, I'm telling you, he flicks his wrist at 60 yards. And it doesn't make sense. Dan's over here laughing, and he knows I'm right because he did it for the Browns. You're just like, how?
Let me explain to the diners.
He got off his couch.
And I will explain to the
Joe Flacco last year got off his couch, probably drinking tall boy ice houses, hammered drunk, and just walked in and started flinging these things out for him. But with Anthony Richardson injury, keep an eye on that. It's going to heavily impact Michael Pittman Jr.'s targets, and with Jonathan Taylor might be out for a little bit with that what Ian Rappaport again said called a quote mild high ankle sprain, whatever that means to you, even though it was on the same ankle he had surgery on.
But even the footballers said today, just a quick note, even the footballers said today, if it's Jonathan Ankle I said Jonathan Ankle. That might be his new nickname. If Jonathan Taylor has an ankle, his new nickname might need to be Jonathan Ankle. But if Johnny Taylor has an ankle injury, you have to be concerned.
You do. You have to pay attention.
It's like it's his bugaboo.
Yeah, pick up Trace Sermon if he's still out there. But I mean, other than that, I wouldn't, because I am a Pittman owner, and it sucks. He just got his money. I didn't listen to my own advice, and I picked him up because he got paid. And then they picked up Anthony Richardson, and it's just been.
He was good last year.
He was great last year, but I picked him up before they drafted Anthony Richardson, and that's an issue. So, anywho,
so
I wouldn't take the trade unless you're getting an equally good running back in return. I just wouldn't, because Josh Jacobs, to me, and looking at because I have his lineup here. I don't want to say it out because then people are going to know who he is. He wants, remain anonymous, but I would not trade Josh Jacobs. No, if you could trade Drake London off for a 1-for-1 for something, I can totally understand that. But if you get Drake London, maybe Chase Brown or Zach Moss for something like that, I would do that. But I would not. I wouldn't offload Josh Jacobs just yet.
So, just to put a bow on this, since you want to talk all that shit, let me ask you a question. Chubba Hubbard,
Joe Flacco,
or Zach Moss?
Chubba Hubbard or Zach Moss? I mean, I would have to look at schedule, but I just don't like Chubba Hubbard. I don't.
I'm not asking if you do.
Yeah,
I just want to take Chubba Hubbard or Zach Moss.
Zach Moss.
Chubba Hubbard or Rico Dowdle?
Ooh, Dynasty Dowdle.
Chubba Hubbard or Devin Single Digits?
Chubba Hubbard.
Chubba Hubbard or Jerome Ford?
Ooh, Chubba Hubbard.
Chuba or
Chuba,
Zamir
but I
White?
wouldn't be happy. Chuba because Zamir's sucking.
Chuba or Javonte Williams?
Javonte.
Chuba or Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones.
Are you taking consideration that Jonathan Brooks is going to be back this year, or are you taking consideration off of Chuba off his first 4 weeks?
Taking consideration because I don't like Chubba Hubbard.
So you're biased.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm asking for a actual
for dynasty reasons. For dynasty reasons, not Chubba Hubbard.
Chubba Hubbard or Rashad White?
I'd take Chubba. For dynasty, unless he's on your waiver and you can get him for nothing, I would not. He's not a person I would target.
Chubba Hubbard or Najee Harris?
Najee Harris.
Dude, you are crazy.
Najee Harris is the only active running back on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This week, I think you're just hating on Chuba a little bit.
I just said that.
The last 5 weeks of the season last year, scoring over 13 fantasy points a week, and then he just continued this week. Yeah, one bad week, okay. But now that Andy Dalton's here, because the Bryce Young first 2 weeks for Carolina, you got to throw him out the window. Deontay Johnson scored almost 22 points this week, and all it took was, first of all, this just made me think. I need to make a correction from last week. I referred to Andy Dalton as the Red Rocket. That is actually a nickname for a dog part that I was not trying to refer to. His nickname is actually the Red Rifle. However, I said Red Rocket. One of our league members pointed that out, that I called him basically a dog boner. So anyways, okay, just a couple more. Chuba or Gus Edwards?
Chuba.
Chuba or Raheem Mostert?
Raheem Mostert. You saying that, but so the Panthers played the Bears, the Falcons, the Commanders, the Broncos, the Saints. Then they played the Giants. Then they played the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, the Eagles, the Cowboys. They can run on. You see what I'm saying? It's up and down with their schedule. For the most part, it's hard to run against defense.
Dude, I was talking through 4 weeks. I just mean these first 4 weeks.
I'm meaning for the future of our first 4 weeks.
See, so we weren't even on the same page. We can't do
this. Why would we talk about the previous 4 weeks when we're looking at the future?
This far, at this point through the season, Chubba Hubbard, in my opinion, is really like top 1/3, right? I guess there's 30. He's probably not ranked top 10. He might be. I don't know what he's ranked. You can look that up. But like, to me, out of 30 running backs through 4 weeks with the injuries and everything, like, now don't get it twisted, right? Like, you can't take Chubba Hubbard over, some of these running backs who have been dealing with injuries and these type of things. But like, man, he's got to be at least top 15. And
Chubba Hubbard, okay. 55 carries, tied for 18th. Rushing yards, 296, tied for 10th. 1 rushing touchdown, tied for 22nd, and yards per carries, tied for 9th. So overall, if you average him out from where he's tied and stuff like that, you're probably looking at like 16, 17.
Okay. Now look at his production the first 2 weeks versus the second 2 weeks.
I have to look it up.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Because the first 2 weeks, that was Bryce Young. The second 2 weeks were Andy Dalton. I can tell you right now.
Against the Saints, 6 attempts, 14 yards. Against the Chargers, 10 attempts, 64 yards. Against the Raiders defense, who quit playing, 21 attempts, 114 yards. Against the Bengals defense, who is terrible, 18 attempts, 104 yards. So yeah, he did good against really bad defenses. You got me there. 1 touchdown against the Bengals.
Dude, listen.
I'm just telling. I'm giving you the facts here.
Listen,
I don't like Chubba Hubbard.
Listen to this. I know clearly
you're not
you
gonna
don't, and this is why
you're not going to change.
Diners know
you're not going to change your mind on it.
Let me tell you this. Okay, the first 2 weeks with Bryce Young at the helm, right?
Against hard defenses.
Listen.
Against tough defenses,
it doesn't matter the defense, man.
It absolutely matters the defense.
No, dude, it
matters the defense 100%.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about this, right? I can't believe we're doing a whole 15 minutes on Chubba Hubbard.
Because you won't let it go.
My guy. I will not let it go. He is my guy. So I will sit here and I will fight for Chubba.
Go ahead.
All right. First 2 weeks. Okay. You got New Orleans and you got the Chargers. Okay. Good defenses. Fine. With Bryce Young. All right.
Against good defenses.
6 attempts for 14 yards. 10 attempts for 64 yards against your Chargers' great defense, right? That's 6 yards per carry. Okay. Fine. He still had 5 targets, 4 receptions for some more yards, right? Okay, now the second 2 against these terrible defenses you're talking about, right? He had 21 attempts for 114 yards, 18 attempts for 104 yards.
Yeah.
And that's also adding 5 receptions.
9 receptions altogether.
You're right. 9 total. For 72 yards total and a touchdown receiving. On top of freaking 39 rush attempts for 218
yards.
And a tutty. Dude, you're telling me that it's the defense's thing?
Against the Raiders defense, who literally quit trying.
Okay.
They literally quit trying, and then you have the Bengals defense who just couldn't. If they tried as hard as they could, it wouldn't work.
All right, so check this out. Let's make a bet. The next 2 games he has good defenses. The next 2 after that, actually, that's not even true. 3 of the next 4 games, he's playing really good defenses, okay? So we're going to revisit this. I'm going to make a note.
Go ahead.
We're going to revisit
the wasted Chubba. Enough time on this as is.
We're going to do a 4-week Chubba check-in.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying, I don't like Chubba Hubbard. I don't think he's as good as you're making him out to be. It's like, yes, I can. I 100%. Okay, so a guy plays really bad defense. He's really good. No, that's not how that works.
let's go to the toast report.
Yeah, let's go to the toast report.
The toast report this week.
Chubba Hubbard.
No, that would have been a couple years ago. Wow.
Anyway. Yeah, because we just spent 20 minutes talking about Chubba Hubbard.
Fantastic.
No.
All right, so why don't you give us a quick toast report?
I've already gone over most of them.
Okay.
Christian Watson's unlikely to lean on IR. Insider Jordan Schultz hears that the Packers wide receiver Christian Watson is unlikely to lean on IR. Schultz adds that Watson is dealing with a, quote, mild high ankle sprain. Still bet on him missing multiple games. He might be, they're expecting to be back before week 9. Let's see who else is here. Oh, yeah, big story here. Uncertainty about Rashee Rice's knee injury, a.k.a. Patrick Mahomes' only tackle this season. ESPN Adam Schefter reports that, quote, there remains uncertainty over the extent, end quote, of Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice's knee injury. Rice had additional testing on the knee on Monday and consulted with team doctors, but, quote, more tests are required to determine the full extent of Rice's injury and recovery timeline, according to Schefter. No answers are expected until next week, so keep an eye on that. If it is an ACL injury or something like that, because it looked pretty bad, I would expect him to miss pretty much the next 2 years because he's got the injury. If he goes on IR this late, or if it's a season injury, if it ends up being a season-ending injury, he's going to go into next year, and I'm not sure how they're going to deal with his suspension. So if he goes into next year on the PUP list, he could still catch after his PUP list, which is 4 weeks. He could still catch an up to, I can't remember how many games it was, I think 6 or something like that, game suspension. So you're talking week 10 of next year before he could possibly return is a possibility. Other than that, I've went over everything. Christian McCaffrey has tendonitis in both ankles, which is something he was dealing with. So when you have tendonitis, you tend to lean on your other leg more and use it to support more to overcompensate. And that's how you develop tendonitis in both Achilles. So I won't look for him to be coming back anytime soon. Jonathan Brooks won't practice this week. I can't remember why. I have it in my notes, though. But here's some good news. Nick Chubb is ready to practice. Browns running back Nick Chubb, if you remember, it was a devastating knee injury. He's designated to return to practice this week. So that gives him, if he goes to practice this week, that gives him a 21-week window, or 21-day window, so 3 weeks to be put on the active roster. So look, if he does good and stuff like that, ends up, we're looking at week 6 or 7 for him to return.
Fantastic.
And that's pretty much all I got here. This is some good news, or juicy at least. Devontae Adams has requested a trade. He said he would prefer to be traded, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. The Las Vegas Review-Journal's Vincent Bonsignor, I'm probably mispronouncing it, and I apologize, reports that the
Sounded good.
It's Bonsignore. Reports that the Raiders have begun gauging interest from other teams on Adams' trade. It seems like there's motivations on both sides to get it done, so this is something to heavily monitor because there's talks. He could end up on the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. He could end up on the Kansas City Chiefs. He's probably looking for a winning team, so keep that in mind. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. We've gone over most of them during our little conversations here.
Okay.
So
let's get into the workers permit.
Oh, yeah.
So just to give the diners a little insight, we had the workers permit. I had my own plan for a player, and then Carrie was like, ooh, I have somebody for the workers permit. I'm like, oh, yeah? He seemed super pumped about it, right? Like when you get that new hostess that you don't have to explain how to split up tables to everybody equally. It's very exciting.
It was suggested to me by somebody at work that I need to keep an eye on. And because I'm not going to lie, I haven't really had a chance to sit down and watch college, so I looked into them. And I came with them first, so I called dibs. But we
called dibs.
We equally agree that this is a guy that needs to be monitored throughout his collegiate career here.
While I give him the rundown, can you please look up like a Google search on how to pronounce the last name? We need an official.
Ginty. I'll look it up.
Why'd you just ruin who the player was?
Well,
I didn't even say his name yet.
You should be on it more like I am.
Wow. Okay, so anyways, even though I asked you to help me out. All right, folks, the Toast Report this week is none other than Ashton Junty. Okay, we got a 5'9" running back, 215 pounds, out of Boise State. Now, I will say, he is from Jacksonville, Florida, so that is right down the street from us. Shout out to Jacksonville.
It's
Huh?
It is Ginty.
Ginty? Ashton Ginty. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Out of Jacksonville, Florida, right down the street from us, just a neighbor. Okay. Went to high school in Texas because that's what most high school people do is transfer to Texas, Ohio, or Florida. And then, actually, don't let me hate on Georgia. Georgia's high school game is really good too. My bad. I had to correct myself. Anywho, that's not important.
Real recognize real.
Okay, so a 5'9", 215-pound running back. His body type is more like your Austin Eckler's and your Devon Achans. Like this is these short, stout guys. Like 210 to 215 pounds is my favorite kind of like running back weight range. But 5'9",
it's a small frame for that much.
Correct.
Weight.
Like you're either 6'2", 220, or if you're 5'9", 215, you're this little guy, a jukey type, right?
Yeah.
He is a Heisman candidate for sure. Last year he was the Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year. All right, so check this out. Just some cool stats, and then I'll turn it over to Kerry. Listen, last year he had like 1,345 yards thereabout, rushing yards, plus 14 TDs, plus 569 reception yards and 5 reception TDs. That is ridiculous. That is 19 total touchdowns and almost 1,900 yards in Boise State. This year, this is what really blew my mind.
Real quick, his targets last year was 48 and 44 receptions. He only missed 4 passes last year. That is insane.
No,
that is crazy.
Enough. That is insane. This year, so if last year he had 1,344 rushing yards, this year he already has 845. That is only,
oh my God,
at like seriously 500 yards less after only 4 games. Okay, for the whole year, he's averaging 10.3 yards a rush, and he has 13 freaking TDs. Last year he scored 14 TDs off of 1,400 yards. This year, he has 850 yards and has 13 TDs. People, listen. Diners. If you really are in Dynasty and you love yourself and say you're the bottom 2 of the league, right? Say you're the bottom 3 or 4 and you're in week 5 now. And you're just wondering, what the hell am I going to do? I'm telling you, give a thought. Just give a thought to Mr. Ashton.
Gianti.
Mr. Ashton?
Ginty. I forgot.
Mr.
Gianti.
Ashton?
Ginty. Ashton Ginty.
It's been different every time.
Ashton Ginty.
That sounds like a karate move.
It almost sounds French. But check this out. So far this season.
Well, I wasn't done yet, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, finish.
No, go ahead.
No, you were getting mad at me.
No, you already took the wind out of my sail.
You're taking all the stats from the guy that I chose.
I'm going to turn it over to you. somebody please tell the Chubba hater to take over this segment.
I will, because PFF has him rated as a 95. 95 in offense and a 97.8 in running. Their meter, their top out is 100. He's a 97.8 run. He's an 86.2 fumble or not fumble chance, but fumble rating, which means there's a very small chance that he fumbles. Last year, on his 217 attempts, he fumbled 5 times. Five sounds like a large number, but on 217, it's really not. So this year, right now, he is killing it. His run block is graded at a 59.1, so clearly he's not blocking. He's just going through blocks. So far this year, his longest run is 77 yards. He has 17 10-plus yard rushes. His yards after contact it looks like he's averaging 7.17 yards, so 588 of his yards. This dude is insane, man. Now as of right now, it's only 4 weeks, so his targets are 11. He's 6 for 11 in his targets, 19 yards. But this dude, he's just a guy to keep an eye out on. He really is. If you like Dan was saying here, if you're looking to be one of the top few draft picks in your rookie drafts for Dynasty, this is definitely a guy you need to keep an eye on. He's absolutely crushing it. His first game this year was against Georgia Southern, which is what it is. But he also got 20 attempts at 267 yards and 6 touchdowns. 6. He played Oregon week 2, 25 attempts, 192, 3 touchdowns against Oregon, which is obviously a much higher graded team than Georgia Southern. Portland, he is 11 attempts for 127 yards, no touchdowns. Washington State, 26 attempts, 259 yards, and 4 touchdowns. This guy is fast. He's explosive. And he's just exactly like Dan said. He's a Devon Achane build type, but I've also seen him truck people over. So this is a guy to keep an eye out on for sure.
He's electric.
He is.
I watched some film, okay, because I really am a junkie. I watched the Oregon game. This guy can catch. He can juke. He's explosive. Not only is he quick, but dude, he was throwing dudes off of him. He was throwing them off of him like rag dolls.
He's a sturdy 215.
And here's the only thing I thought about, right? Like, I feel like he could hang in a big conference, but like with the stats, Mountain West Player of the Year and everything, and with NIL and the transfer portal, why didn't anybody go get him?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know why they didn't go get him.
Why?
But, okay, so just real quick, you comped him to Achane. Achane is 5'8", 188 pounds. So this guy is much bigger than Devon Achane because I've seen him.
Probably a bad cut.
I've seen him run over. So 215 is the weight that you really are looking for a good running back.
It came out this year. Can you look up while I keep talking? There was somebody. It might have been Ray Davis, Braylon Allen. One of these rookies this year came out.
Braylon Allen's huge.
One of these rookies came out this year with about the same stat line. He was like 5'9", 215. It was something like that. Now, all right, as we begin to wrap up the episode, let's get into the head-to-head, the daily specials. After you want my ass last week,
yep.
This week I came back with a triumphant return.
You did.
I noticed you went with Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, it was a mistake. It was bad. I was hoping he would get at least like a touchdown or something like that, but he did not. It was just, I was trying to ride that wave, and it was honestly my last pick. Probably could have got somebody better, but that's who I went with.
Brock Bowers let you down. He probably let a lot of people down.
Brock Bowers can kiss my butt.
We love a lot of people. Now, my lineup, you went with Justin Fields. I went with Jaden Daniels. Justin Fields outscored him, but
By the way, Braylon Allen is 6'2", 245 pounds. He's more comp to King Henry.
There is somebody. Look at Jonathan Brooks, please. I'm pretty sure Jonathan Brooks or Trey Benson.
It might be Trey Benson.
One of these guys is about this weight. Okay.
Brooks 6 foot 207.
You went with Saquon. I went with Chubba. Chubba doubled up Saquon.
I don't know what happened to them, dude. I really don't.
I went with Aaron Jones. You went with J.K.
Trey Benson 6'1", 223.
So that's about.
That's like a 5-inch difference in their height.
Ray Davis, check him out.
4-inch difference. I'll check out Ray Davis.
Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins. Aaron Jones doubled him up. You had Nico Collins. I had Nico Collins. Listen, on FanDuel, Nico
5'10",
Collins.
216.
There it is. And Ray Davis on Buffalo, people. Ray Davis is killing it. If they didn't have James Brooks or James Cook, I said James Brooks. Now I'm confusing people. If they didn't have James Cook, Ray Davis would be smashing for Buffalo. I just want y'all to know that, to me, is a great height and weight for college running backs. That's my sweet spot. Anyways, let's keep it moving. I went with Marvin Harrison. You went Khalil Shakur. That was a little. I mean, what were you thinking? Matter of fact, I'm not even going to try to speak for you.
I was thinking Josh Allen was better than what he was.
I mean, Josh Allen did end up with.
That's like his number one target is Khalil Shakir, and he ended up
against Baltimore is around. So.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened.
Okay, fair enough. George Pickens.
Hail Mary right there, boy.
Oh man. My favorite thing about the head-to-head, dude, was I used your homeboy against you. And you didn't even see it coming. Matter of fact, when I pulled up our head-to-head, I could not even believe that you didn't use your homeboy. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
Taysom Hill.
Oh, yeah, no.
Your homeboy you can only play him 5 weeks a year. And this was the week for Taysom Hill. And I thought for sure when I opened up our head-to-head, I would see you playing him against me because you are a Taysom Hill
I love
lover.
Taysom Hill.
I know you are.
I absolutely do.
I purposely played him against you in our head-to-head to try to, see where you were at. And clearly, you're scared of Taysom. I think you and your boy need to have a chat.
No, I think we're okay.
All right, folks, they're okay. Except he got hurt, though. So make sure you all keep an eye on that, okay? Don't play him this week. You need to keep an eye on that, okay?
Yeah. I'm just letting you have your fun because at the end of the day, I beat you by like 70 points in week 1. So I'll take my 40
Well, I mean, if we're keeping track of record or if we're keeping track of
1-1
overall points, that's exactly right. That's why I'm not talking smack.
Sounds like you are.
No, I was talking smack about Taysom Hill because I used him against you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could get Taysom Hill, get him because on the sleep rat, he falls as a quarterback and a tight end, and they will eventually gizmo him in for like 6 weeks, and he will do great, and then you could just pull him out.
So you're telling me if you put Taysom Hill, or I'm sorry, if you put Chubba Hubbard in your head-to-head lineup and I didn't, and you won, and Taysom hit or Chubba had a good game, you wouldn't be rubbing it all up in my face?
No, because I would never have put him in my lineup.
This man can't even do hypotheticals. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well,
no, I can't. Not with Chubba Hubbard, I can't.
Okay. Oh, hold on.
Probably for the matchup, sure, but
maybe we'll call this the mini nugget du jour. I just want you to know this is a list of running backs with less receptions than Chubba Hubbard. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Jordan Mason, Jahmyr Gibbs, James Cook, J.K. Dobbins. A short list of people with more receptions: Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Devon Achane, Breece Hall. All right, y'all. I'm going to end it on that because Chubba, he's like chicken, baby. He's just good with anything. Y'all get you some Chubba Hubbard out there this week.
Are you saying he's better than Derrick Henry?
He has more receptions. Derrick Henry, he had one good game. Let's not get it twisted, dude.
200 yards rushing.
Yes, one game.
You're crazy.
Okay. And on that note, listen.
Yeah, it's not off too.
One time, anybody still out there with no power, we still have people in our community without power. Everybody whose houses are underwater and who are just trying to get away. We appreciate y'all listening. Please like, subscribe, follow, leave us a comment section in the comment section. Tell us how much you hate us. Tell us how much you love us. I'll tell you what, like, unlike, re-like, re-unlike, then resubscribe. Let's get it. It'll just help the diner out a lot. Catch us on Spotify and YouTube at DFD Podcast. Catch us on Instagram at DFD_podcast. Listen, we appreciate you all. Thank you for coming in when we had a real stressful week. To all you people out there dealing with stuff that are way bigger than football, good luck to you. We love you. We thank you. And we'll see you in the diner next week.
Yep. Thanks for stopping by.